Thank you, Laura. Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here and to share some of what Brazil is doing regarding crypto assets. Um, as you may know, Brazil is always ranking among the top crypto places. But what brings like ML to the discussion in Brazil was not exactly the users, but the problems that happen. And do that, we are always trying to foster innovation. We have our instant payment system called Pix. It's very successful. We are working on CBDC, Open Bank, and many initiatives. We want to foster innovation, but always we need to pay attention to those problems and issues like AML. And I would say that we have three main pillars regarding our regulatory framework. The first one is the legal foundation. In 2022, Congress passed a bill that we call somehow Crypto Act. And with this Crypto Act, we have amended three main laws. The first one is the financial system crime. And so VASPs, I mean, so far we don't have a regulation in force, but this law has made VASP equivalent to financial institutions for criminal purposes. And the AML law was also amended, include VASPs to submit know your customer, know your client, reports to the financial intelligence unit, having specifically a compliance officer to avoid people using like the company to somehow reading some bad things, and also keeping the records for at least 5 years. And the third amendment that this Crypto Act made was regarding the criminal code. And right now in Brazil, the criminal code specifies crimes made by the use of virtual assets. So, and we have leveraged those sort of penalties and sentences. After that, 2022, the Central Bank of Brazil was assigned as a regulator and supervisor of this market. And based on that, we have worked really hard on discussing with the industry in the international groups and among all the authorities in Brazil, how we should develop those AML key features. And the first one is, I would say that, and the most difficult one is how to deal with offshore VASPs. And after many discussions, the draft and probably it will come to force next year, we decided, oh, if you're offshore, you can come to Brazil and ask for authorization. There's no problem. But if you don't, you cannot do any business in Brazil. And how can we really do that? Because nowadays, when you take a look at the markets, you have offshore VASPs acting in Brazil through like payment institutions or any other financial institutions. So after the regulation coming to force, they will be all financial institutions will be forbidden to act directly to these offshore VASPs. And also, like a white label that was mentioned at the very beginning, as we are learning how to do that, they will not be authorized in Brazil because we think that there are many issues that we cannot address right now. And of course, we define Brazil and the jurisdiction because we need to know, to specify what is when you are operating there. And after that, I would say that we have the third pillar, that is basically data. And so far, we don't have legal powers to act on those virtual assets as providers for AML and any other purposes, but we do collect data, FX transactions. All of them are already registered at the central bank. And what we are planning to do for the next year when the regulation comes to force, all transactions between a non-resident and a resident, they will be included in the FX system. It means that they will be reported to the central bank as an FX transaction. So we know the final beneficiary and all the transactions. And what about hosted wallets and self-custody wallets? It was a hard discussion, but it's a draft. Probably it will be the final rule, but they will be also included in the FX market. So it doesn't matter because you don't know the ownership actually. So they will be included. You should answer the question, who is the ownership? And with that, we expect to cover the main AML issues. Of course, there are many of them. And There is another point that when we talk about Brazilian agencies, it's quite relevant. The justice, I mean the court, they are developing a system to communicate between the judge and the virtual asset service providers. I mean, it's being developed. We already have that for banks and all the financial institutions. But the idea is that to have the possibility, because we are talking about a borderless world and a 24/7, and as we saw today, like in a few seconds or minutes, everything can change. So the idea is to communicate directly to the virtual assets providers that are registers in the system, that they freeze or, I mean, take some action on those, I mean, assets. That's more or less what we have in mind right now. I mean, regarding AML, those are some pillars. But of course, the main ones that we'd say that will contribute for like AML issues is having data, because with data we can, I mean, do a lot of analysis, like people said before regarding the Brazilian tax authority. They collect since 2019 all transactions, and I mean, with all those databases, governmental databases, and we can use on-chain, of course, we can use blockchain analytics and combine everything in order to, I mean, investigate what is going on behind those transactions.